9 a.m. Feb 2021. We'll discuss about what? Power pivot, guys. So far, we discussed how to do the ETL activities in Power Query, how to bring the data from the data sources, how to extract the data, how to transform the data, and how to load the data to the Power Pivot we discussed. Now, what we are going to do in Power Pivot, we'll discuss now. Power Pivot. So first, in one line, let me explain what is Power Pivot. In one line, let me explain what is Power Pivot. Power Pivot is used to create OLAP model, guys. Power Pivot is used to create an OLAP model. Power Pivot is a database. So I can write like this: Power Pivot is a database which is used to create an OLAP model or a data set. Another name is data set, guys. So Power Pivot is a database which is used to create an OLAP model or data set. When you install Power BI desktop, you'll get that database automatically. This Power Pivot database, you'll get it automatically when you install Power BI desktop, guys. When you install Power BI desktop, this Power Pivot database, you'll get it automatically. Power Pivot database, you'll get it automatically. And I'm telling it's a database. So database, so might be we people hear about databases. So you have different databases in the market. SQL Server is a database, Oracle is a database. In the same way, my Power Pivot is also a database. Power Pivot is also a database. And I'm telling it's a database. It's a database. What is the purpose of database? Database is used to store the data, guys. Database is used to store the data. Whenever we need to store the data, we'll use database. The database, how we will store the data? Database is used to store the data in the form of tables. In the form of tables, right? So how the databases will store the data in the form of tables? Even how the databases will stores the data in the form of tables. Even my Power Pivot also will store the data in the form of tables, guys. Power Pivot also stores the data in the form of tables only. Form of tables. It's a database. What databases can do, even Power Pivot will do the same. It will store the data in the form of tables, right? So, and what data it will store? Power Pivot will store the data that is required for analysis. So your data sources will contain complete business data. But into the Power Pivot, I will bring the data that is required for analysis purpose. What data I need for analysis? Only the data I will bring it to Power Pivot. Power Pivot will store only the data that is required for analysis, guys. Power Pivot will store the data that is required for reporting purpose or analysis purpose. Store the data that is required for analysis purpose. Required for analysis or reporting purpose. Reporting purpose. Analysis or reporting purpose. Whatever the data we need for reporting or analysis purpose, it will be stored here. Fine. The next one is, so we have two types of databases, guys. Power Pivot is not an ordinary database or not a normal database like Oracle and SQL Server. We have two types of databases in the market. So one is relational databases. Relational databases. One is relational databases. Second one is in-memory databases. In-memory databases, guys. So in-memory database. There are two types of databases: relational databases and in-memory databases. So Power BI comes under where? So when it comes to reporting, Power Pivot is powerful, guys. When you do the reporting on SQL Server, so I created one report here. I shared that report with my client. When I shared that report with my client, when my client opened that report, it is taking 30 seconds of time to load the data. Take an example. My client want to wait every time 30 seconds to see the data in the report. The same data is there in the Power Pivot. The same report we created here. When we create the same report here, when we create the same report here, when you share with the client, when the client open that report, you can see the data within 5 seconds of time. So the same data, same report, to see the data by client, it is taking time. Same data, same report, when you create it on top of Power Pivot, it is showing taking less time. So why? What is the difference? Why when Power Pivot is powerful when it comes to reporting, guys? When you do the reporting on Power Pivot, the data, you can see the data quickly in the Power Pivot. Let me write here. So why you can see the data quickly is Power Pivot is not a relational database, it's an in-memory database. In-memory databases are best suitable for reporting. Why means when you access the data from relational databases, they'll give the data from RAM, hard disk, guys. When you access the data from relational databases, they'll give the data from hard disk. Data from hard disk. But when you access the data from in-memory databases, they'll give the data from RAM. When we access the data from in-memory databases, they'll give the data from RAM, guys. They'll give the data from RAM. So RAM is tens of times faster than hard disk. When you try to take the data from hard disk, if it is taking some time, when you take the same data from RAM, it is tens of times faster. The first reason why the reports will show the data quickly means the in-memory databases will process the data from RAM, will provide the data from RAM. That is the reason, guys. And not only that, so the way it stores the data will even help us, guys. In the relational databases, the data will be stored in the row format. In the in-memory databases, the data will be stored in the columnar format. Even the columnar format will help us in getting better performance, right? In relational databases, the data will be stored in the row format. The data will be stored in row format. But when it comes to the data will be stored in row format in the relational databases. When it comes to in-memory databases, the data will be stored in the columnar format. The data will be stored in not in the row format. It will store in the columnar format. So even this columnar format will help us to get the better performance. Not only processing the data from RAM, even this columnar format will help us to get the better performance. What is that? Let's understand. The data will be stored in the columnar format. Okay. Fine. The data will be stored in the columnar format. So what is that columnar format and row format? When you store the data in the columnar format, you have advantages, guys. Advantages with columnar format. When we store the data columnar format, when you store the data in the columnar format, we have few more advantages. The first advantage is the data will be highly compressed. The data will be highly compressed. the data will be highly compressed. The data will be highly compressed in where? Today's world. The data will be highly compressed in-memory database, columnar database case. When you store the data in the columnar format, the data will be highly compressed. How? So highly compressed means in SQL Server, I'm saving some data. If it is occupying 100 GB space, when I load the same data to Power Pivot, same data, when I load it to Power Pivot, in Power Pivot it will occupy only 10 GB space, guys. Approximately it will occupy only 10 GB space. So it will compress the data 1/10 of source data. The data which you are storing here, same data, if it is occupying 100 GB space here, when you load the data to the Power Pivot, it will just occupy 10 GB space. So why? Because of the columnar format, guys. I'll discuss. Because of columnar format, data will be highly compressed. This is the first advantage about it. Let's discuss about it. How the data will be compressed, we'll discuss. Power Pivot, let me open this. So in relational databases or traditional databases, I said that data will be stored in the row format. So take an example, this is my table. I have EMP table, employee name. I have 4 columns, job, salary, department number. 4 columns are there. I want to store this table in my relational database. I said that in relational database, the table will be stored in the row format. What it will do is, it will take first row and it will store first in the first block or first, and then it will take second row, it will store next, and it will take third row, it will store next, and it will take fourth row, it will store it. Like this, row by row it will store, guys. When I have any table, the table data will be stored row by row, row format. When I store the data in the row format, so in each block you will have different data type data. I have text data, number data, number data. When I have different data type data here, there is no chance of running compression algorithms. So we have compression algorithms. So if you have same data type data, we can start running the compression algorithms. That will reduce the data size. So I said that in the Power Pivot, data will be highly compressed. In Power Pivot, there is a possibility to run the compression algorithms. But in the SQL Server, there is no possibility to run the compression algorithms. Right. Now, as this, if you look at this, as this, each block contains different data type data, it will not be possible to run the compression algorithms. Now, when you go here, in the columnar databases or in-memory databases, the data will be stored in the columnar format. Same table, the same table data, when I want to store in the Power Pivot, it will store in the columnar format. It will take first column, it will store first, and then it will take second column, it will store next, and it will take third column, it will store next, and it will take fourth column, it will store next. So when it stores each column and complete that block contains a text information only. A column can contain same data type data. When I have same data type data, there is a possibility to run the compression algorithms. We can run. This time we can run that. So what that compression algorithm will do is, it will reduce the size to 1/10. How it will reduce the size is, for the first time clerk is coming, it will give the ID as some 1. For the first time when clerk is coming, it will give one ID for it. From second time when clerk is coming, it will not store complete text. So it will store with that ID. So when the third time same clerk is coming, it will not store complete clerk. It will store that ID. Instead of storing that complete clerk, if you store that ID, will you save the space or not? 100% you will save it. Same way, for the first time when analyst is coming, for that analyst it will give an ID. So from next time when analyst is coming, from the next time when analyst is coming, what happens, guys? From the next time when analyst is coming, it will store with 2. Instead of storing this complete analyst, when you store with 2, will it reduce the space or not? 100%. 100% it will reduce the space. Right guys, like this, when you run any compression algorithms, when you have the same data type data in any block, there is a possibility to run compression algorithms which will reduce the size guys, which will reduce the size. So keep in mind, in interview they might ask you, so what is the size it will occupy in PowerPit? 1/10 of source data. You need to tell approximately the size will come to 1/10 of source data. Approximately the size will come to 1/10 of source data guys. Right? The next one is, the second advantage is, when you do the reporting on columnar data, it is much faster guys. When you do aggregate calculation, when we perform aggregate calculations, they are much faster. When we store the data in the columnar format, when we perform any aggregate calculations, it is much faster. Calculations, they are much faster. What I am telling is, what I mean to explain here is faster. So look at this here. Look at this. So I have a sales table here which contains 100 million records. 100 million sales values are there. For that 100 million sales values, I want to calculate sum of sales. Sum of sales is nothing but an aggregate calculation. When I want to calculate sum of sales for this, let's assume it is taking 10 seconds of time. So same 100 million records are there here. Same sales table is there. Same 100 million records are there. When I'm doing same sum of sales here. Same sum of sales here. When I want to do same sum of sales, it will not even take 10 seconds. It will just take 2 or 3 seconds of time. So why it is taking this much of time here? Why it is taking very less time here? So take the same example here. So in relational database, you are storing this employee table data. So I want to, in the relational database, I want to get sum of salaries we are paying. Sum of salaries we are paying. I said that in the relational databases, it will store the data in the row format. For each row, it will show the data. It will store the data in the row format. So when I want to get sum of sales, first row data it will store in first block, second row data it will store in second block, third row data it will store in third block, something like this, right? So when I want to get sum of sales, I want to go to first block, I want to get the sales value. I want to go to second block, I want to get the sales value. I want to go to third block, I need to get the sales value. Like this, I need to go to different places, I need to get their salaries and I need to sum them. So when it stores the data in the row format, all the salaries values will not be in one place. So look at this, the first record salary is in some place, second record salary is some place, third. I want to collect all them, I want to sum them. To collect all them, to sum them, it takes time. But look at this, when you store it in the columnar format, it will store each column wise. When you have a salary column, it will store every salaries in one place. This time when I want to get sum of salaries, I don't want to go with here and there. I can just go here, I can bring it, guys. I don't want to go here and there, I can just go and bring it here, guys. I just go and I can bring it. I can bring the salaries and I can sum them, I can show it, right? So here, to go here and collect the salaries from each place will take time, and then we need to submit. Here that is not the case. You can directly get it and you can submit and you can show it. So these are the advantages when you perform. Reporting is all about performing aggregate calculations, guys. Reporting is nothing but what? Performing aggregate calculations. So performing aggregate calculations are nothing but reporting, guys. So when you do the reporting on Power Pivot, obviously you will find better performance when compared to other databases. One reason is as they process the data from RAM. Second reason is, so reporting is about aggregate calculations. You can find all the values in one place. You can bring it, you can submit, right? Fine, guys. This is the difference between normal databases and in-memory databases. On the whole, Microsoft developed this Power Pivot only for reporting purpose, guys. Only for reporting purpose. Now, here, whatever I discussed in the last 20 minutes, it is just the product I explain about Power Pivot. So as a developer in Power Pivot, you will perform two activities, guys. As a developer in Power Pivot, we will perform two activities. We'll perform two activities. So what are the two activities we'll perform is, one is data modeling. First thing we'll do is data modeling. Second is enhancing the data model. Enhancing the data model. These are the two activities we basically perform in Power Pivot case. Data modeling and enhancing the data model. Let's talk about them. What is data modeling? First, we'll discuss 5 hours of time about data modeling, and we'll discuss around 12 hours of time about enhancing the data modeling. First, let's start with what is data modeling. So we know the definition of data modeling. Establishing the relationship between the tables, we call it as data modeling. Is establishing the relationship between the tables. Relationships between tables we call as data modeling is. Right. So first thing we need to do is, let me close this. Let me open a new report. First thing we will do in the Power Pivot is data modeling is establishing the relationship between the tables. We call it as data modeling. So once you load the tables into the Power Pivot, we'll open Power Query, we'll bring the tables, we'll transform the data, we'll load it. Once you load the tables into the Power Pivot, first thing we will be doing is data modeling is data modeling. Data modeling. I open Power BI Desktop, just close this. And then, so before we start loading, I can go to Power Query. I can bring whatever the tables I want, click on new source, bring the tables from Excel. And let me bring some more tables from another Excel also. Another Excel also, EMP, DPT, click on open. And let me bring some more tables from SQL Server also. Click on new source, SQL Server. Let's provide the server name. Press OK. And expand any database here and select the tables. Select the tables, press OK. So once you bring the tables, go and transform the data if required, and then load the tables into the Power Pivot. Click on close and apply. When you click on close and apply, as my Power Pivot is a database, it can store every table which you loaded. It can store every table which you loaded. So in my Power Pivot, all these 9 tables which I loaded, all the 9 tables will be loaded along with the data. Look at this, I loaded some 9 tables. You are seeing all the 9 tables along with the data there. All the 9 tables along with the data. First thing, once after loading the tables, we need to go to model view. We need to start doing the data modeling work here. So I'll tell here, I'm telling that in Power Pivot, first thing we need to do is data modeling. So data modeling can be done in model view, guys. Where we will do the data modeling work? Data modeling will be done in model view. Model view. I need to just go to model view. I need to start doing the data modeling, guys. I need to start doing the data modeling here. Right. Customers table, sales table, and products table. But one thing here, when you load the tables, majority of the data modeling will be done by our Power BI itself. If you look at here, we loaded EMP table, DEPT table, and managers table. So I said that data modeling is nothing but these relationships. Giving the relationship between the tables, we call it as data modeling. When you load the tables, majority of the data modeling work will be done by Power Pivot itself. Power Pivot have the intelligence to do the majority of data modeling work, right? So everywhere you are seeing relationships. So note, majority of data modeling work will be done by Power Pivot itself. Majority of data modeling work, relationships, majority of data modeling work will be done by Power Pivot itself. Power Pivot itself. Now, first thing, we are telling that we need to do data modeling once you load the tables. Why we need to load the tables? Why we need to establish the relationship? The first question is, why we need to do the data modeling? In introduction classes, I said that I even answered, I even explained this, why we need to do data modeling first. Why we need to do data modeling? What is the need of it? Why we need to do data modeling? Same question I can ask, I can write like this. What is the need of establishing the relationship between the tables? What is the need of establishing the relationship between the tables? Establishing the relationship between the tables. Right, guys? So now, first we want to understand, let me quickly explain why we need to do the data modeling work, or why we need to establish the relationship between the tables, and then we'll discuss how majority of the data modeling work will be done by Power Pivot itself. So to answer this, so there are some cases where we need to create the visuals on multiple tables, guys. So look at this, I have a sales table, customers table. I want to show each customer wise sales. Each customer name wise, I want to show the sales amount. So customer name column will be there in customers table, sales amount column will be there in sales table. When I want to show each customer wise sales, I need to have the relationship. If I don't have the relationship, it is not possible. It is not possible to see the data. Let's take an example here. I have a EMP table. I have a department table. I want to show each employee is working in which location. I want to show each employee is working in which location. So if you want to show each employee, and if you want to show location, so you want to drag employee name from employee table, you want to drag location from location table, guys. Location from location table. So when you want to see the data here, you need to have the relationship. If you don't have this relationship, the visual will not show the data. So majority of the cases, the data will be stored in many number of tables, guys. Majority of the cases, the data will be stored in many number of tables. And whatever the visuals client is asking to create, whatever the visuals the client is asking to create, right? Whatever the visuals you need to create, whatever visuals we need to create, so sometimes we need to show the data from more than one table. So whenever you need to show the data from more than one table in one visual, the table should be related. If the tables are not related, it is not possible to show the data here. Look at this, in the same visual, I want to show some details which are there in the employee table. I'm creating one visual. I want to show some employee name which is there in the employee table. I want to show what is the job of that employee. I'm showing here, and I want to show in which department number that employee is working. We are showing here. So comfortably, we are showing the columns which are from EMP table. Adams, he is a clerk. He is working in 20th department, guys. And along with this three, I want to show Adams is working in which department name. Adams is working in which location. So Adams is working in 20th department. 20th department employees are working for research department name and Dallas location. I have DNAME and location column in the DEPT. I need to drag the DNAME column from DEPT. I need to drag the location column from DEPT. And it need to show research and Dallas here. Research and Dallas. Let's go here. When I drag, so first intentionally, I'll go and remove this relationship between EMP table, DEPT table. When I load them, automatically I got one relationship here. I'll go and delete it. Why we deleted it is, we're trying to understand what is the need of that relationship. Now, once you delete it, I want to go and show here department name. When I try to drag the department name, my visual is not showing the data. So when I have only 3 columns, employee name, job, department number, it shows the data. When I add department name, it is not showing the data. Till here, these 3 columns, it is showing the data. When you go and drag columns from another table, department name and location, it is not showing the data. So why it is not showing the data is, you are dragging the columns from 2 different tables. The tables does not have the relationship. So when I click on see details, you will get the same message. Now, if you want to see the data in this visual, first thing you need to do is you need to go and establish the relationship between the tables. Then only we can show it. Whenever we need to create the visuals using more than one table, between the tables you mandatorily need to have the relationship. When I go here, so if I have the relationship, then I can show it. The easy way to establish the relationship is select the common column in one table, drag and drop on the same column in another table. So if you want to establish the relationship, you need to have a common column, guys. Here I have a common column, department number column. I will go and establish the relationship. Select the department number column, drag and drop on department number column. Select the department number column, drag and drop on department number column. As soon as you look at this, when I select this relationship, you are seeing these 2 columns got highlighted. You got to establish the relationship. Now, as soon as you establish the relationship, you are able to see the data properly here. Look at this. Adams is working in research and Dallas location. 20th department employees are belongs to research, Dallas. And 10th department employees are belongs to accounting, New York. So King is working for 10th department, accounting, New York. Now I am able to show some columns from EMP table, some columns from DEP table in single visual. Whenever we need to create the visuals on more than one table, whenever we need to create visuals on more than one table, we need to have the relationship between them, guys. More than one table, we need to have relationship between them. Relationships between the tables, otherwise it will not show the data in the visual. So majority of the cases, when you load the tables into the Power Pivot, we'll create the visuals on more than one table only. Majority of the cases, 90% of the visuals we will create on more than one table only, right, guys? So I want to show manager name also here. For this Adams, who is the manager I need to show? So if I want to show manager name, so manager name is available in manager table. I want to drag it. I'll go and delete this relationship here intentionally. So this EMP table and DEPT table is no way connected. They are independent tables. I want to show manager name here. Go to the manager table, drag the manager name column. When I try to drag the manager name column, the visual is not showing the data again. So the visual is not showing the data. If you want to show the data in the visual, what you need to do? You need to establish the relationship between the tables. You have a common column called manager number and manager number. You just drag the manager number and drop it here. When you drag it and drop it here, you'll get the relationship. Will you see the data now? Yes. So for Adams, the manager is Scott. For Adams, the manager is Scott. So like this, whenever we need to create the visuals, they should be related. On multiple tables, the table should be related. We understand why we need to do the data modeling, guys. The next one is, we understand what is the need of establishing the relationship between the tables. For both of them, the answer is same. When you load the tables, majority of the data modeling work will be done by Power Pivot. How majority of the data modeling work is done by Power Pivot is, look at this here. In the file menu, you have 2 settings selected. When I go here, options. So when I go to the current file, data load, there is relationships, guys. So in the relationships, there are checkboxes selected, guys. So these 2 checkboxes are working to get this majority of data modeling work done. So let's understand high level what the 2 checkboxes are. Or this time I'll discuss about 3rd checkbox also. So what is the navigation to go there? File menu, options and settings, options and settings, and then we need to go to options. We need to go to current file, and we need to go to data load options, guys. Data load options. In the data load options, you can find relationships. You need to go to current file. In the current file also, you need to go to data load, and data load you'll find relationships, guys. Relationships. Relationships is the place where you can see the checkboxes. First checkbox is import the relationships from data source on first load. Import relationships from data source on first load. First load for the first time. So this option will work with databases, guys. Mostly this option will work with databases. So what this option is telling is, sometimes when you are working in the projects, clients will give the business data in the databases. So we are telling that when you are bringing the tables from database, so in databases the data will be stored in the form of tables. We know that databases will store the data in the form of tables, and between the tables you will have relationships also. Between the tables you will have relationships also. What we are telling is, when you are bringing the tables, along with the tables bring their relationships also. So that is what the first point is. Import relationship from data source on first load. When you are bringing the tables into the Power Pivot, bring the tables and their relationships also. So here, if you observe here, we bought these 3 tables from SQL Server. SQL Server database. In SQL Server, these 3 tables will store with relationships. These 3 tables will store with relationships. When I am bringing the 3 tables, I'm not only bringing the tables, I'm even bringing the relationships also. Because of what option? The first option. Okay, first option will work only for databases. So if you observe here, we bought this EMP table, DEPT table, and managers table from Excel. Even though when you bought it from Excel, between the 3 tables you got the relationships. Even though when you bought it from Excel, you got the relationships. Yes, how you got the relationships is, first option will not work here. So here the second checkbox will work. The second checkbox you will find there is, auto detect new relationships after data is loaded. Second checkbox you will find is auto detect new relationships once data is loaded. New relationships once data is loaded. Auto detect new relationships once data is loaded. So what this checkbox will do is, once you load the tables into the Power Pivot, it will read each and every table. It will read each and every table. If it find any common column, so second option will read, if you load 10 tables into the Power Pivot, it will read 10 tables. And in each table it will read the columns. If it find any common name, let us assume product data contains ABC column and this EMP contains ABC column. Take an example. Same column name of the column ABC. With that column name, it will establish the relationship, guys. With that column name, it will establish the relationship. Whether, see, even though this product table is coming from SQL Server, this EMP table is coming from Excel, it will establish the relationship, guys. It will establish the relationship. Understand one more time. So the second option will read every table. If it find the same name between the tables, with that name it will establish the relationship. Whether it is same source or whether it is different source, it doesn't bother. The second option will work for any kind of data source, whether you are loading the data from files or whether you are bringing the data from databases. When you load the tables, it will read every table. It will identify the same column name. Based on the column name, it will establish the relationship. Right, guys? So there is another option between that is not checked, guys. If you look at this options and settings, there is one more option, middle option. It was not checked. Let me to explain it. let me go to file menu, options and settings, options. There is one middle option. The middle option was not selected. When I go to data load, when I go to relationships, look at this, the second option is not checked. So what is this option? Let's try to understand. So when you are bringing these three tables from SQL Server, so in SQL Server I have customers table, I have sales table, I have products table. When I'm bringing the tables, I have the relationship between them. Between these three tables, when you are bringing the tables, you have the relationships, guys. Is it correct or not? When you are bringing the tables, you have the relationship between them. Yes. So first, with this option, what it will do is, when you bring the three tables, it will bring the three tables, it will bring the relationships. So when we get any new data, in these three tables, when I get any new data, to bring that new data, I need to click on refresh. There is a refresh button here. There is a refresh button here. So when there is any new data in the SQL Server in these three tables, to bring that new data, I need to click on refresh. When you click on refresh, take an example. Between these three tables, I have relationships. For the first time when I bring it, I got that relationship. When I click on refresh, someone delete this relationship. So between these two tables, someone delete this relationship. When I click on refresh, you will get the new data to these tables, but even though when the relationship is deleted, it will not delete here. By default it will not delete. But there is an option here, update or delete relationships when refreshing the data. So this first option will work. Import relationship from data source on first load. For the first time when you are bringing the tables from SQL Server, between these two tables, if you have the relationship, bring it. Otherwise, bring it. And when you are refreshing the data, even though when the relationship got deleted, someone deleted it, it will not delete it. Only first time it will bring this option. But there is second checkbox here. To bring the new data, you will refresh it. So when you check the second checkbox, so before I refresh it, someone deleted the relationship between customers table and sales table in source. When I check this box, when I refresh it, it will even delete this relationship also. Second checkbox, what we are asking, update or delete the relationship when refreshing the data. Whenever you are refreshing, in the source, between sales table and product table, if someone deleted this, even it will delete here. But it is not recommended, guys. So why this will be unchecked is, this is very dangerous option. So I loaded two tables, I established the relationships, I created lot of visuals using these two tables, and I shared that visuals to my client. To get the new data into these visuals, I'll refresh it. If someone deleted this relationship, if by some reasons, if you check this box, if someone deleted it, it will delete it. When it deleted it, the visual will not show the data. Client will not see the data. So when we need to check this option is, there are some cases where source databases will be maintained by us, and even Power Pivot database also maintained by ourselves. So very rarely source databases will be maintained by Power BI developers. Source databases always will be maintained by some other team. So this database, a SQL Server database, maintained by other team. You will access the data and you will maintain only Power Pivot database. If you are the one who is maintaining this database, who is maintaining this Power Pivot database, checking this option might be a good option. So, but if someone is maintaining here, so first when you are bringing, if you have relationships, blindly you got it, you created visuals. In future, someone deleted there, if you check this box, it will even delete here, so that it will create lot of problem. The visuals will become invalid. Clients will not see the data. So better, don't check this option. Leave it as it is. Leave it as it is. Exceptional case, you need to go and check this option. If you are the one who is maintaining the database, and if you are the one who is maintaining the Power Pivot database, checking this option might be a right option. Right, these are the three check boxes I have, guys. Now let me close this. So let me close even this report. I'll open a new report now, Power BI Desktop. And in the new report, I'll uncheck, guys. I'm opening new report. I'll go to the file menu. I'll go to the file menu, options and settings, options. I'll uncheck these options. I'll go to data load. I'll uncheck these two options. Press OK. I'll bring some tables now. Click on get data. Click on Excel. EMP DEPT. Click on open. I want to load employee DEPT managers table. Let's load it. Employee DEPT managers table. Click on load. And same way I want to bring some tables from SQL Server also. SQL Server also. Let me bring the tables from SQL Server. Click on get data. SQL Server. Provide the server name. Press OK. It will open the list of databases. Expand any database. Select the tables. Click on load. Click on load. Now tell me, guys, when I go to model view, will I see the relationship between the tables? I'll go to model view now. Will I see the relationship between the tables? Yes or no? When I go to the model view, will I see the relationship between the tables? Is no.
No.
Every table is independent table here. Look at this. Every table is an independent table. Why? The two checkboxes are one which is working. You unchecked it. You don't get it. As a developer, you can start establishing the relationship between the tables. You can start establishing the relationship. I said that you need to come to model view if you want to do data modeling work. Model view. In the model view also you have an option called manage relationships. This is the place where we will do all our data modeling work. When I click on manage relationship, it will open one window. This is the window where we'll work with relationships. We'll even talk about this window. So any questions so far?
Hello, sir.
Yes. Yes.
In query mergers, we are doing the same thing, sir. We are making some relationship between the tables, right?
Where?
Is it in query mergers, sir? Merge query, sir.
Okay.
We are doing the same thing, sir. Here also, we are making some relationship between the tables in data modeling and merge query.
See, what is the difference means? You cannot combine all the tables into one table. You cannot load it. Take an example. There are some cases where we can combine 2 or 3 tables. Look at this. So, if these 3 tables, we can even join in the Power Query. We can load it as one table. We can load it as one table. Both are same. So when you combine these 3 tables into one table, when you load it as one table, it will occupy a lot of space, guys. When you load 3 tables independently, it will, let's assume it is occupying 1 GB space. When you combine the 3 tables into one table, when you load it, it will occupy 3 GB space also. So there are some cases, it is not possible in Power Query, you bring all the tables, you cannot join all the tables into one table, you cannot load it sometimes. If there is any chance, we can join the tables, yes, no problem. But it is not that all the cases we will join all the tables, we will load it. When you try to join some tables, when they are individual tables, they will occupy less space. When you try to join these 3 tables, when you load it as one table, it will occupy more space. In that cases, we will not join the tables. We'll load them as independent tables. In that cases, when I want to create the reports, I need to establish the relationships. On the whole, yes, it is correct. Even when you are joining the tables in the Power Query, you are doing the same thing. Here also, when you establish the relationship, even it will happen the same thing. Only difference is, when you load these 3 tables independently, if it is occupying less space, when you combine them into one table, when you load it as one table, it will occupy more space, guys. 2 GB space it will occupy. There are some cases where we will load independent tables whenever we need to create visuals. That time we need to have relationships. Both will do same thing, but only merge queries will not solve our requirement. So I have 20 tables. I cannot bring 20 tables. I cannot join into one table. I cannot load it. I cannot create it. It is Blender. There are some cases where you need to join some related tables only, not all the tables. So when you have the data like this, it is never recommended to join these 3 tables. Load these 3 tables independently. You want to join some related tables only in merge queries. You want to load it. It is not possible to join every table. It is possible. When you do that, the data set size will grow like anything. That is the reason we will load even independent tables.
Thank you,
Any
sir.
other questions?
Harika here.
Yes.
Well, actually, if we have 2 different tables with the same name, let me say this manager, this thing, I mean the column MGR, and other table also has MGR. Since this is case sensitive, the other table has in a small, I mean lower case. So what I am thinking accordingly is they won't, I mean Power BI won't match them. I mean they don't, what do you call it?
Try it.
There
See,
is no
one thing
relationship
here.
established by Power BI. Can I do it manually?
You can do it. When it is not, see, sometimes you will have some tables. Common column means, look at this here. So might be I'll have a column with the name or date here. So in some other table they will store the same column with O date. But even they might be the common columns. So when Power BI is not giving some relationships, so Power BI is not doing for some reason, but they are common columns. I want to give it. You can manually give it. So it is not that only the default relationships you need to use it. Sometimes even Power BI will establish wrong relationships also. Take an example. I have one ID column in EMP table. I have one ID column in product table. It will even give the relationship. Both are not containing same data. That time this relationship is wrong. You can delete it. You can create your own relationships also. If there is any missing relationship, you can go and manually give it.
So this is not case sensitive, isn't it?
It is not case sensitive. You can have in any case. It is not case sensitive. In one column, I have manager in MGR, small case. In another column, I have in uppercase. You still can have it. It is not case sensitive. It is not required that the name should be same. Not only case sensitive, guys. If you have the column name like here, MGR1, and here it is MGR, still you can establish it if you want. It is, you no need to have the same name. Same column means, common column means not the name of the column. The data under that column should be same. Common column means not the name of the column. Even if you have a different name, different case, you can still establish the relationships.
Thank you.
Raghu here.
Yes.
If we need to establish any relationship between 2 tables, we need to have a common column. If there is no any common columns and still we want to establish relationship to get an visual, so can we create common columns with from our end if it is required, if it is not there from the client?
You can create it. See, one thing, if there is no common column, clients will never ask you to show the data from 2 tables. So when there is no common column, what is the meaning? They are not related tables. If you still want to show, we can create it, we can show it, no problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
If in case data type is different, Sunil, what will happen? You need to check both data types should be same in both columns, or?
Yeah, if you see, when you are establishing the relationship, data type should be same. Common column means data and data type of the column should be same.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Fine, guys. In tomorrow's class, we will discuss, for coming few classes, we will discuss about data modeling, guys. Important. Tomorrow's class is important. Tomorrow I will discuss some data warehousing related concepts. What is dimension table? What is fact table? What is cardinalities? We'll discuss in tomorrow's class. We'll stop here for today. From here, we'll discuss in tomorrow's class, guys. Let me publish it. I'll save the report name as Power Pivot Introduction. Power Pivot, comma, data modeling introduction. I'm saving it. What is the name I given? Power Pivot, comma, data modeling introduction. Let me publish it. (9 a.m. February 2021 Power BI files, I think. I'm publishing to 9 a.m. Feb 2021 Power BI files. Click on select. Fine, guys. We'll stop here. Thank you. See you tomorrow.